So patch 12.0.5 of Midnight has brought with it a quite unique new system that we really haven't had many times previously in World of Warcraft's history. And more specifically, this is going to allow you to obtain all new recolors of the remodeled HD remakes of the tier 2 class sets that we have now had, I think like 3 or 4 different recolors of, starting with the 20th anniversary where we got the originals, then we got the darker colors for Diablo. But the really interesting and unique part of this new system that allows us to obtain these void themed versions is that these versions of the tier 2 class sets are usable on any class that can transmog that armor type. So if you're a paladin, you can use the Death Knight and the warrior sets. If you're a priest, you can use the warlock set. But with that, there is a bit of RNG of how to obtain these tier sets. So that's mainly what I wanted to go over in this video, just to let everybody know that these recolors of these tier 2 class sets are class agnostic, so any classes that can transmog that armor type can use them, but also to go over how to actually buy these correctly, because while it's RNG to get all of these different armor pieces of all of these different sets, it is bad luck protected if you buy this in a specific way. Now, I am going to be going over multiple videos of the best ways to farm the new currencies to buy these, because there is the new field accolade currency that's part of the new pieces of content with this patch, which you need a small amount of these, and then also a lot of void light marl. And more specifically, if you want to obtain all of these transmog pieces, it is going to cost you 22,050 void light marl and 795 of these accolades. Now also keep in mind there are purple recolors of a ton of TBC weapons that aren't HD remakes. These are just recolors of TBC weapons, and there are a bunch of them, and each one of those weapons is essentially double the cost of getting any of the singular armor pieces of any of the class sets. So it's going to be a bit cheaper if you remove all of the weapons and you just want these armor sets. That total cost is actually pretty cheap, because as I'll go over in that future video of how to best farm these new currencies, you will also be farming a ton of void light marl while doing it. So the void light marl is pretty easy to farm, and if you know what you're doing, the 795 field accolades will only take a handful of hours, and that will give you literally all of the possible cosmetics from this. Now, to buy these, there will be a new area in Silvermoon, or not a new area, just an area where a bunch of new NPCs are. These are the NPCs that are selling you everything from this new patch. There will be a tutorial quest to go and talk to these NPCs and take you into all the new content, and one of these vendors will sell the recolor TBC weapons and all of these new armor pieces. And how you're actually buying these is you're buying a box of a specific slot that just randomly gives you any piece that box can have. So there's the weapon box that can just give you any of the weapons. Then there will be a helm box, a shoulder box, a chest box, etc. And when you go and buy one of those boxes, which will cost 150 void light marl and 5 field accolades, you will get 1 armor piece of any of the tier sets. Like I mentioned, this is bad luck protected. So if you go buy a shoulder box and it gives you, say, the monk shoulders, and you learn those monk shoulders, you will not be able to get another pair of a monk shoulders. It just removes it from the loot table, and once you've purchased and learned all of the armor of one of the armor slots, so let's say you've gotten all of the tier 2 shoulder pieces, the box from the vendor will now be redded out, and you won't be able to purchase that box again. So it's fully bad luck protected, but there is one thing that can mess you up and make you waste a bunch of resources. You have to learn the item before it's removed off of the loot table and bad luck protected. So if you say go buy like 25 of the shoulder boxes and open them all up, you will get duplicates, because there obviously aren't 25 classes and 25 sets, but you won't be able to sell back the armor pieces to the vendor. So the best way to go about buying these is you go through and just buy one of every box at the vendor, and then you go and open all those boxes and then learn all of the cosmetics and then go back to the vendor, rinse and repeat doing that. You don't want to be buying like multiple shoulder boxes or multiple chest boxes before you go open the ones you already have, and also learn the armor pieces, because learning the armor piece is what removes it from the loot table. I did test this, and you will just get duplicates if you don't do this. And you can also just get duplicates right away. So if you went and bought 2 shoulder boxes and opened both of them back to back without learning any cosmetics, you could get 2 of the same shoulders just from doing that. So again, the best way to go about buying these and to be the most efficient as possible, because you do have to buy a ton of these boxes. I think it's like over 70 total. You want to go through, buy 1 of every box, then leave the vendor, open all the boxes, learn all of the cosmetics, then rinse and repeat. That's the best way to go about this, so you don't waste any of your currency by getting any duplicates. And now that you have that knowledge, it's actually quite easy to go obtain all of these tier 2 sets and the additional weapons if you want those quite easily. To specifically get the field accolades, which is the new currency, it will only take a handful of hours. Even if you're not super geared, I was doing all this on I think a 265 geared tank. If you're around there, you'll be able to do this in a similar amount of time. So the field accolades will really only take a couple hours, and you don't even have to be fully efficient for that to only take a handful of hours. Now, if you don't have the Void Light Immoral, that may take a little bit longer, but doing the runs I was doing where I was getting like 120 field accolades a run, I was also getting like 400 to 500 Void Light Immoral. And if you need Void Light Immoral, just doing the new content to get these field accolades does give you a good amount, but you can also run around and do any of the world quests that gives you Void Light Immoral. Pretty much everything is giving you Void Light Immoral. That shouldn't take too long if you have none of that either. But most people probably have a lot of that. I think I had like 80,000 Void Light Immoral before I started purchasing these, so you'll probably be fine on those. And make sure to subscribe, because in the coming days, I'll be doing multiple videos of the best ways to farm these field accolades, because these are also used for purchasing champion and hero track gear from a different vendor as well. So if you're trying to gear up, you can use these on actual gear, and just the best ways in general to do the new pieces of content that give you these new currencies. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.